afternoon, everybody. My name is Chelsea Mann. I'm a field signature artist with the Wella company, and welcome to the Modern Instagram Live. Thank you to you guys for joining today, for taking time out of your day to be here, and thank you to Modern for having me. As usual, if you guys see anything that you like today or anything that you'd like to try, please head down to Modern and grab some of our lovely products. So today I'm really excited to talk to you about blondes. Anybody that knows me knows that I love blondes. I love the process of a blonde. I love the transformation of a blonde. I just love the whole thing. I love the whole thing start to finish. So today we're going to talk about blondes and how to get there. I'm going to show you guys some notable blondes, things that you guys have definitely seen in the media. And we're going to talk all the way through it today. So strap in. I hope you guys are ready. So just a few housekeeping details, guys. If you haven't been on Instagram Live before and watched one of my lives before. This is a completely interactive environment, guys. I have a few colleagues in the comments right now. I want you guys to feel free to jump into the comments and ask your questions. Interact with me. Right at the bottom of your screen, there's a little thought bubble with a question mark in it. If you guys have questions, feel free to use that as well. I'll do the best that I can to answer your questions. The ones that go into the question cards come directly to me. So I will do everything that I can for you today, okay? So again, if you're just joining us, my name is Chelsea Mann. I'm a field signature artist with the Wella company. I'm coming at you from my home studio here in St. Albert, Alberta. And I'm excited to talk to you guys today about blondes. So let's get into it. So we're really in that season right now for blondes. It's April. Everybody's sort of, it's a weird time right now. Last year was a weird year. This is still sort of a weird time. But I know, a lot of my clients are still coming in, and I live in Alberta, so we're open and we're taking clients right now. But I know a lot of my clients are coming in and really asking me to transition them from their fall looks or their winter looks into their spring and summer looks. I know a lot of my clients and myself, I'm spending a lot of time outside, and, making sure that we want to have, our brightness and feel good, right? With everything that's going on in the world right now, we really need to make sure that our clients are feeling good and looking their best. The other thing, guys, that we're going to talk a little bit about today is consultation and how we can consult with a blonde and make sure that we're giving our clients everything that they're asking for, but in a way that fits their lifestyle, right? There's nothing worse than getting your hair done or doing a client's hair and having them come back and say, I loved it, but I can't really maintain it. I don't really know what to do. So I'm going to show you guys all of the tools that we have, at Wella to create really beautiful blondes and how we can create those blondes in reasonable ways for our clients that they'll be able to love and maintain and just, fall in love with themselves all over again. Okay. So let's talk about our products today, guys. I'm going to put up, they changed a little bit of the platform on Instagram, so I'm going to do my best. For those of you that may, as this happens a lot on my lives, that's my Instagram handle right there. So if you guys have questions while I'm talking, feel free to jump them into the comments or into the question cards. You guys also can slide into my DMs at any time you want. Be prepared. My Instagram is a lot of, my dog and me jumping out from behind things and scaring my kid. And there's a lot of inspo stuff on there as well. So give a follow at chelsea.wella. Okay. So let's talk about consultation first. I think that's where every good blonde starts with a good consult, right? I'm a firm believer that the more you know about your clients, the easier it is to create bespoke and custom services for those clients, right? I think a lot of times with consultation, a lot of observations that I've had in the salon is, the clients come in and, the hairdresser will maybe sit down with them or maybe stand behind them and be playing with their hair and be saying to them, so, we're doing the same thing we did last time, or do you have a picture to show me? And all of those things, to say, we're going to do the same thing as last time is like a really solid way to, maybe eventually lose a client, right? I think it's pretty well known in the industry that the easiest way to lose a client, and most clients that move on, if you ask them why they left you, they'll say it's because they got bored, because they weren't being offered anything new. I know that for me, when I'm, paying my phone bill, for example, if I see that the phone company is offering new clients, an incentive to become new clients, as an existing client and a long-time client, I'm sitting there thinking like, well, now where's my razzle dazzle, or where's my incentive to continue to be a customer, right? In hairdressing, that sort of magic happens from the front end of the client experience all the way to the back end of the client experience, right? So your first point of contact being your front end person, your receptionist or your salon manager, they play a really integral role. You might not think so, but they play a really important role in your consultation. That they're somebody that maybe the client's developed a good relationship with and is going to ask for advice, maybe when you're not standing there, things like that. So that front end experience, I think, is really, really important to your consultation, but as well as all of these steps here. So I'm not going to read these to you guys. I pulled this off of our app. If you don't currently have the Wella app, you can go to your app store or your Play Store, type in Wella Education. It should be the first one that comes up. If you guys have problems finding it, just jump into my DMs on Instagram, and I'm happy to help you guys out. Okay. So on our app, you'll see under consultation, we have a whole book on consultation that you guys can read up on, but this is one of the things that I pulled from it. And I'm not going to read this to you. You guys can go and check it out on the app. But I think that these are some really great points. I think atmosphere is really important for consultation. Sitting down when you're consulting. I know I'm nearly 6 foot. I know that you can't tell that from Instagram Live, but if I'm sitting, if I'm standing over somebody, I'm very like it's very overbearing, So I tend to sit down and talk to somebody face to face. It also sort of fosters an environment that you're having a conversation with somebody rather than just trying to extract as much money out of them as possible, right? Which is also part of the job, okay? But, we need to finesse that money out of them. It's okay, right? So sitting at their level is important. Getting to know that client is important. That way you can curate services for them, okay? Advising them and acting as a beauty coach, I think, is really important. If somebody is asking you, we're going to talk a little bit about this in a few minutes when I'm talking about different types of blondes. But acting as a beauty coach and recommending to somebody, I don't think this is a super great tone for you, or you can have blonde hair or have this colored hair, but maybe this would be a better idea, or that. Clients really look to us for that advice. So don't be afraid to step in and say to a client, hey, I think I see where you're going with this, but I think maybe this would be a better choice for you, and here's the reasons why. Okay. Offer your ideas. Certainly clients want to hear our ideas. Okay. We need to, I'm realizing that I'm not doing these in order, but you guys sort of get the drift, I think. We want to make sure that we're personalizing our services to our clients in our consultation. One of the ways that we do this is through lifestyle questions. Now, anybody who's ever worked in retail, which I think should be everybody at some point in their lives, if you've ever worked in retail, you'll know that about closed-ended questions and open-ended questions. Closed questions are questions that you can only say yes or no to, right? So if you go into a store and somebody says to you, can I help you find something? That allows you the opportunity to say, no thanks, or I'm just looking, and then the conversation is closed. Whereas if that person came to you and said, hey, what are you looking for today? Then it forces you into a position where you have to say, hey, I'm looking for a, pair of jeans or an air fryer, whatever store you're in, right? I love my air fryer, just saying. So all of that to say, those when we talk about lifestyle questions, sort of like open-ended questions, but instead of saying to a client, what are we doing with your hair today? We can discover a little bit more about their lifestyle. Do they go to the gym? Do they work outside? Do they have kids? Like, what does their lifestyle look like? As opposed to just, what do you want done with your hair? Now, the way that I do the lifestyle question, guys, is I wouldn't jump in and say, do you go to the gym a lot, or do you wear your hair up a lot? I sit down next to them and say, hey, how's it going? What is the last, I haven't seen you in 3 months. What has been going on in your life? And then all of a sudden they're telling me, I've been in lockdown. Through lockdown, I discovered that I love to run, or whatever the case may be. Now, all of a sudden the client thinks that we're just having a friendly conversation, but really I'm extracting information about them that I can use to curate their services. Okay. Then we get to objections. So sometimes clients, and that's a strong word, I know, but sometimes clients will say to us, oh, I don't really know about this or that. Talk through those objections, understand why they're saying, what they're saying. And again, avoid those closed questions and try to find that compromise, right? Last but not least, your consultation, guys, is summary, right? Now, some people get crazy with this one and they're like, okay, Brenda, we're going to do, first I'm going to lighten you out with our Blondor multi-blonde powder, and I'm going to do it with 20 volume. And then you're going to sit under an umbrella with my dog for 45 minutes, or do you know what I mean? And it's just way too much information. When I say summary, guys, what I'm talking about is just reconnecting with the client and making sure that you're understanding that they are in the same space that you are, so that we don't have those sort of weird miscommunications later. Okay, if you guys want more information on this consultation, like I said, please don't be afraid to jump into my DMs on Instagram, or you can certainly find all of that information on the app. Okay, so that's just a little sneak peek into our consultation and what consultation sort of really should look like, and my personal tips and tricks. Okay, if you're just joining us, again, my name is Chelsea Mann, a field signature artist with the Wella company, and today we're talking about blondes. So let's talk about blondes, okay? Let's talk about what a blonde can look like. So let's say you've gone through your consultation and, you're sort of on the same page. Now, I live in Alberta, but I'm from Ontario originally, and it seems to be, there's a little bit of sort of a difference between Ontario and Alberta. It seems that maybe you guys can tell me what you think in the comments, but I know in Alberta, if somebody here says they want to have blonde hair, it's gotta be white. It's got to be ashy, it's got to be white, but somehow people still look at my hair that's sort of a dusty pink, and they're like, oh my God, I love your hair, I wish I could have hair that color. Well, you can. It's okay. You know what I mean? Not every head of hair that's blonde has to be white or ashy or flat, right? Now, here's what I've discovered over nearly 25 years of experience, okay? When clients say, and guys, take this one to the bank, okay? When clients say that they want ashy hair or white hair, they don't want to see warmth, which warmth isn't usually a client-y term, but if that's what they're sort of saying, they're saying it because they equate warmth or rich tones with darkness, with depth, right? A lot of times people think, okay, if I tell my hairdresser I want to have white hair, it means it's going to be, I know, Mona, I'm sorry, I do talk very quickly. I will try to slow down. Thank you for telling me. Thank you for the reminder. A lot of times when people are saying that they want to have white hair, it's simply because they're afraid of having hair that's too dark. They think that if they tell you that they want their hair to be white, that it automatically means that it's going to be lighter, right? But as hairdressers, we know that ashy colors tend to look darker, right? That the ashier the color, and I'm sure you guys in the comments have run into this where you've done somebody's hair super ashy, it's like a level 10 and it's ashy as all get out. But the client is looking at it going like, oh, it looks silver. Oh, it looks dark. Well, yeah, it's ashy, right? The picture you guys have on your screen there is a nice, bright, beachy, buttery, beautiful blonde, but it's nice and light. And one of my favorite things about this photo, this is actually from our trend collection a few years ago. It is on the app. But one of my favorite things about this look is that the color of the blonde is very close to the model's skin tone. This is one of my faves. This is a personal style thing, guys. I love to match blondes to skin tone, okay? If you notice, my hair is quite similar to the undertones of my own skin, and I dig it. It's my absolute fave. I love seeing like porcelain sort of, beautiful light-skinned, very, very light, pale women or men or humans with matching sort of hair color. It's my favorite blonde. Again, personal style thing, that's just me. But I wanted to show you guys this picture because a lot of times clients will bring in other kinds of pictures. Like they'll bring in stuff like this. So this was done by one of our artists in the US, Carolyn Kim. Shout out to Carolyn Kim. I'm not sure if she'll see this, but she's so lovely. That's her Instagram handle at the bottom. But clients bring in stuff like this where they want this white hair. And it's really, really beautiful. Carolyn did a great job on this. But it's not the right tone for everybody. And my point, guys, is that clients think that ashiness or lack of warmth equates to lightness. But really, some of the most beautiful blondes in the world, in my opinion, are ones that are matched well to skin tone and are bright and beachy and beautiful and believable. Okay? So that's another point I wanted to make, is that not all blondes are created equal. Not everything has to be ashy and, flat, right? It's okay for you guys to coach your clients into having hair that is more reasonable for them, and it doesn't necessarily have to mean darker. Warm doesn't necessarily have to mean darker. In fact, from a theoretical standpoint, it's the exact opposite. Okay? So I don't see any questions in my question cards yet, so I'm going to keep going. Again, I apologize that I do talk quickly. I will do my best to not. So let's talk about some products here, okay? So we do have, I'm going to put this one up. I know it's a bit blurry, but this is our hero family in Blondor with Wella, okay? So in Wella, we break down all of our products into families. So our permanent product family is called Colliston Perfect. Our demi-permanent range is called Color Touch. Our semi-permanent range is called Color Fresh. And then our lightener range, which is part of which is what you see in front of you here, is called Blondor. Now, when I say the word Blondor to you guys, people automatically assume that I'm talking about this guy, about multi-blonde, okay? This lightener is actually called multi-blonde, okay? So if you guys say Blondor to me, if you guys were to ask me a question and you say, hey, Chelsea, what's the mixing ratio for Blondor, okay? I will assume you're talking about this, but this lightener technically, guys, is called multi-blonde, and Blondor is the name of the house, is the name of the family of lighteners. Okay, so let's start with our multi-blonde powder. Okay, it's this one. It's the guy I'm holding here. Now, I show it, before anybody asks me, I show it in 2 different sizes there. It is available from Modern Beauty Supplies in our 800 gram bucket. Also in our, I believe that's a 400 gram canister. Maybe, I know there's a few Modern reps that are watching right now. If I'm wrong, please jump it into the comments. But this is our multi-blonde powder, okay? This is our hero lightener, one of our hero liners. We have a couple now. But this is our like OG lightener, okay? You can do everything with this lightener, guys. You can use it on scalp, you can use it off scalp, you can foil with it, balayage, foliage, you can paint with it, you can do cap highlights with it, you can do anything that you could dream up that you need to do with a lightener, you can do with our multi-blonde powder. Now, multi-blonde has been around a long time. It's won a bunch of awards. It really is a consistent, easy to use, easy to mix, easy to manipulate lightener that doesn't swell. And I say that to people sometimes, they're like, oh, no way, that doesn't happen. Try it. Try it. If you want to like put it on a swatch, put it into a foil, let it sit. I mean, maybe if you let it sit, if you let it sit there for a week, it may swell out of a bowl or something like that. But under normal usage, it will not swell out of a foil or liquefy or pour out of the foils when it's used correctly, okay? And I think when people get into lighteners, they're like, oh, I want to use a lightener that has the most lift possible. I'll tell you guys right now, our multi-blonde powder and our entire Blondor range, with the exception of Magma, which I will get to, has up to 7 levels of lift, okay? Now, people sometimes get stuck on this up to 7 levels of lift or 8 levels of lift or 9 levels of lift situation. I don't pick lighteners that way, okay? I like to use lighteners that are consistent, that are easy to use, that I know I can rely on, because I don't have time to do something twice and only get paid once, guys. I don't have time for that. Right? I don't have time for mistakes. I don't have time for something to liquefy and leak out of a foil. I don't have time for something to swell. I don't have time for something to dry out and crack and fall off. Ain't nobody got time for that. That's our hashtag for today. Okay? So I choose multi-blonde because it's very consistent. It's easygoing. It's easy to use. Right? But to address the levels of lift thing, guys, if you had somebody who had like dark, like level 2 hair or whatever, are you gonna, regardless of the lightener, guys, are you gonna put a lightener on it and finish cleanly at a level 10 without having to reapply anything and whatever? No. 9 times out of 10, hair like that comes with coarseness and comes with other things that like play into it. I watched, I see pictures sort of online where a competitor lightener said, this was lifted from a level 2 to a level 10 in one day. Yes, in one day, but not in one application. It was lifted, rinsed, dried, and start over again with the same lightener. And I'm like, okay, well, you can do that with essentially any lightener, right? So my point, guys, is don't get stuck on this idea of levels of lift, that a lightener is better because it claims more levels of lift. That's not really sort of how it works, right? I would sooner choose a lightener that I know is consistent and comes from a space, that has a really great sort of storied history and all of the kinks have worked out. And for me, for over 25 years, always has been and always will be Blondor, okay? So that's our multi-blonde powder. With our multi-blonde powder, it mixes at anywhere from a 1:1 to 1:2 mixing ratio, okay? Please still put your lighteners on a scale, guys. Mix it to your ratio. It's how we get consistent lift. It's how we get predictable lift. Okay. But when I'm using it, to paint with, I'm at a 1:1 mixing ratio or 1 to 1.5 mixing ratio. If I'm in a regular foil scenario or on scalp, I'm at a 1:2 mixing ratio. Okay, you guys can sort of choose what you like. The only thing I'll say, guys, is I wouldn't be anything lower than a 1-to-2 mixing ratio if I'm using it on scalp, just because it gets a little harsh at that point. And that's not a Wella thing, that's just a lightener thing, right? So that's our multi-blonde powder, and you can use our multi-blonde powder with any of our developers, okay? So our Welloxton developers, this I just grabbed what I had. This happens to be a 10 ball, okay? Or you can use it with any of our Color Touch developers as well, okay? Nick in the comments, hey Nick, miss you. Levels of lift come from fine sections, good saturation, and using the right strength of developer at the right time. I couldn't have said it better myself, my friend. We believe at Wella that, you use thin sections to win. Very, very true. Saturation is so important. And that's when I speak to, I don't have time to, do something twice and only get paid once, right? And right strength of developer at the right time. As you guys are moving up the head or get on further into your application, don't be afraid to switch up your developers, okay? And advance your developers as you need to. Start with something low and move up, okay? Really great comment, Nick. Thank you for being here. We do miss you. So that's our multi-blonde powder, guys. Okay. If you guys have any questions for that, like I said, throw it into the comments or you can slide into my DMs. Okay. Our next one here is this guy. Okay. And this is a really great, lightener as well. This is our extra cool blonde. Okay. I don't have a canister over here. That's why I have a picture, but, the extra cool blonde essentially will give you all of the benefits of your multi-blonde powder that I just told you about. A little bit of a gentler lift, a little bit more of an easygoing lift, okay? But it has our blue and green direct dyes in it. So it's got an ability to sort of cool as you lift, right? My pro tip for this one, guys, is I very rarely, and you can do this, you can use extra cool blonde on its own. I very rarely do that simply because I like to mix it with multi-blonde powder. This powder, this guy one, lifts a little bit more intensely and a little bit quicker than the extra cool blonde. So I like, when I want to use extra cool blonde, I like to mix it half and half with this and then with my developer in order to get maximum lift and maximum cooling effect, okay? So that's our extra cool blonde, guys. And like I said, you can use it on its own. I have done that. Just be aware, I usually only use extra cool blonde on darker levels simply because the lighter the level, the more instance you may have of that blue and green direct dye sort of depositing into the hair. And then you're in a corrective thing and then we've got to move it around. So we don't want to have to do that, okay? So just be prepared for that one. Nice dark levels, okay? Our next member of our Blondor family is one of my personal favorites, and I would say one of our educator favorites, and the unsung hero of the portfolio. This is Soft Blonde, Blondor Soft Blonde Cream Lightener, okay? Cream Lightener, I think, has sort of taken a back seat to our big, powerful lighteners in the last few years, simply because it's just not as, we don't see a lot of it on social media, we don't see a lot of push for it, but I'll tell you guys, our Soft Blonde Cream Lightener is such a great experience. It is a cream lightener. It has some carrying lipids in it. It is a little bit of a different sort of mixing because it is a thicker cream, but once you sort of get it going, it's really great, but it's really gentle. It's really nice on scalp. It's really great for those clients that are, maybe have something, have their hairs maybe already a little bit compromised. You can still lighten it, but you want to be super gentle with it. This is a really great partner for that as well. Same mixing ratios, same developer capabilities as I talked about before, okay? I also really like to highlight with this. If I'm doing highlights on somebody who already has light hair, I really love to choose Soft Blonde for that as well, okay? So that's our core sort of lightening, sorry guys, my nose is running all of a sudden. That's sort of our core lightening family. Then we get into sort of our specialty families, okay? Our first specialty lightener is this guy. This is Free Lights, okay? And I know this isn't the best picture, but it's the best I could do today. Free Lights is our clay-based lightener, okay? 1 to 1.5 mixing ratio. It's a free painting lightener. You guys can use it. You don't have to encapsulate it in a foil. You can, but you don't have to. It will not bleed if it's mixed properly onto the sections underneath it, okay? So you can feel free to paint and do what you got to do with these and know that it's not going to bleed. Now, before anybody asks me, Free Lights is intended to be a gentler lift to create natural sun-kissed looks as opposed to high contrasting balayages. If you guys are trying to create big high contrasting sort of black to blonde balayages, you really need to do that with our multi-blonde powder, okay? Free Lights is meant to create a more gentle, more natural looking effect rather than a black to white effect, okay? Biggest thing I need to tell you guys about this is that Free Lights is a closed system. So you guys can see the powder is on the screen there. This is the developer that goes with it. In order to take advantage of the technology in Free Lights, you need to mix it with its dedicated developer. It'll still lift if you mix it with one of the other developers. You just have to encapsulate it. So if you want to free paint with it, you have to make sure that you are using its dedicated developer, okay? So that's our Free Lights, really, really great balayage lightener. The other thing I want to say about Free Lights before we move on here, guys, is just that, sometimes people say, oh, I'm disappointed, or I wish it lifted better. Again, remember the intention of the product. But the other thing, guys, I have some clients that have really, really dark hair. One in particular who has really dark hair, and I used Free Lights on her. And I'll tell you right now, bump your developer up and really watch your saturation. You'll be surprised the lift that you get out of it. It took me a little bit of getting used to, but the thinner your sections and the more you saturate it, you'll be really grateful that you sort of gave Free Lights that little bit of opportunity to do that, okay? Now, next lightener I'm going to talk about, I've got two more, guys, one of which you're really going to want to stick around for. I left it to the end on purpose. This is Magma. Now, I'm not going to talk a ton about Magma because Magma is sort of in a category on its own, but those of you that are watching right now that have TikTok, if you have seen the pink lightener on TikTok, okay, you've seen people with the pink mass in the bowl and it's lifting through artificially colored hair, that's Magma. That's 0 Stroke 6.5 Magma lightener, okay? And it is a lightener that will lift through artificially colored hair and deposit pigment. So essentially it's lift and tone all at the same time, okay? Packaging sort of looks like this. There's a bunch of different colors. We have a bunch of different blondes. There's a red. There's obviously the pink that's gone viral on TikTok these days. But Magma is really great, guys. It's like I said, a lift and deposit all in one. It's a 1 to 1.5 mixing ratio. You can mix it with any of our developers. I encourage you guys, if you've never used Magma before, sometimes people see the swatches or I talk about it and they get excited. I encourage you to remember that there is a getting to know you period with Magma, okay? And what I mean by that, guys, is if you want to try it, remember that it's a lightener, okay? Keep your developers low, right? And maybe the first time you try it on a mannequin or try it on some swatches or, a friend or yourself, right? But make sure that you sort of get to know it a little bit before you start actively using it on clients, okay? It's a really great product, just takes a little bit of getting used to, okay? Now, I don't see any questions, so I'm going to keep going, guys, and I have a really, really exciting I'm going to just throw my Instagram handle up there while I'm talking. Our newest lightener in our Blondor family, it's our new baby, and we're so, so, so excited about it, okay? It has been a long time coming. It's been in the works for a long time, and we're finally excited to have it in our bags this season. And it's our new Blondor Plex, okay? Anybody that knows me that's been in my classes knows that I've been excited about this for a really long time. And she's here. We gave birth to our brand new Blondor baby. So this is Blondor Plex, guys, and I am not going to complicate this for you guys. It is not complicated. Everything that I just talked about our multi-blonde powder and our mixing ratios 1 to 1 to 1 to 1 to 1 to 2 with our Wella developers or our Color Touch developers, up to 7 levels of lift, dust-free, anti-yellow molecules, no swelling, none of that stuff. Everything that I already said about our Blondor family is true of our Blondor Plex, but Blondor Plex has our Wellaplex technology built right in. Okay, so you don't need to mix your Wellaplex #1 with this. You can mix this up and use it as normal, okay? I just want to point out quickly, guys, at the bottom of our screen there, always complete a Blondor Plex service with Wellaplex #2. This is something that I see people online debate all the time. Well, do you have to use it? Don't you have to use it? Officially, guys, write it down. I'll sign the paper, date and time. Yes, you have to use Blondor Plex or Wellaplex #2 to finish off properly your Blondor Plex service, okay? And just like any other Plex category product, guys, your #1 is, sort of making those bonds and allowing the bonds sort of to find each other. I'll skip the science because we don't have time. But your number 2 is really solidifying those bonds and making sure that those bonds last. Okay, so it really is important that when you're using your Blondor Plex lightener, our new baby, that you're finishing off your service with your Wella Plex number 2. Now, the question I get about Blondor Plex all the time, a few of them, the first one is, does it lift as well as multi-blonde? And guys, I couldn't have asked a better question myself. When we did our training on this lightener, that was the first thing I said. And then when they were like, oh yes, it lifts exactly the same, I still went home, got myself a box of wine, locked myself here in my studio, and did a bunch of swatches on the floor, because you're not hair nerdy if you're not sitting on the floor on a Saturday night doing hair swatches. Maybe that's just me. That's fine. But I made sure that I did side-by-sides with all of our lightener family that I just showed you to make sure that it lifts the same. I did it with Magma. I also did it with a bunch of competitor lighteners to make sure that it was up to snuff. And it is, guys. It lifts just as well as regular multi-blonde. And as you guys can see in the comments, we're even getting stuff back from our customers and our salons that they're finding it's lifting even better than regular multi-blonde. Now, from an official standpoint, guys, this is just the feedback that that claim is just the feedback we're getting from our stylists. We can't officially make that claim. But I have heard it several times from people, including Nick in the comments right now. Thanks, buddy. Nick also mentions the consistency in the comments. That was another thing that I noticed about our multi-blonde powder. This powder has a really nice, dust-free kind of consistency. When I opened up my first tub of our Blondor Plex lightener, I did notice that it is a little bit, I didn't think it was possible because the multi-blonde is so fine and so delicate, but the Blondor Plex powder is an even sort of finer grind of powder and a nice creamy consistency in the bowl. Really, really beautiful to work with, guys. You will not regret your Blondor Plex. It's really, really great, okay? And clean lift, really, really great results with it, okay? So let's talk about results, okay? Guys, if you guys have questions about any of the products I'm talking about today, please jump into the comments or use your question card at the bottom. I'm happy to answer them, okay? So let's talk about results, okay? So I already showed you guys, one of my favorite sort of blondes to do is this sort of beachy, buttery blonde. This is a client that I would probably use soft blonde for, right? Based on her skin tone and her features and stuff, I would imagine she probably has a pretty light natural level. So I would probably use soft blonde on her, okay? In the comments, I've got a question. How long does number 2 stay on for? This is a really great question. Full processing time on our Wella Plex number 2 is 10 minutes. Thank you for your question. So this, like I said, would be a great partner for soft blonde. Another blonde that I wanted to show you guys here is we've got that icier sort of blonde in the background there, and then that beautiful Color Fresh Create in the front there as well. In the background there, the icy blonde. This is, again, maybe a good candidate for a soft blonde or for a Blondor Plex. And then our other model there, this would be a really great candidate for an extra cool blonde service, right? To get her up nice and light, really break through that fey melanin and make sure that, we can cool as we lift to create a really beautiful canvas for that fashion color, okay? Another one that I found that I really, really like is from one of my favorite blonde artists. This is from Zach Mesquit. Okay, if you guys don't follow Zach Mesquit on Instagram, I encourage you guys to check him out. He's our, Wella blonding sort of god. I think they call him the chief blonding officer. I did have a chance to meet Zach when the last time I was in LA, which seems like an eternity ago now. Can't go there right now. But he's a really, really nice guy and a really, really talented artist. But he uses all of our Blondor products, and our Blondor toners, which I'm going to talk about in just a minute here, to create these really beautiful blondes. Okay. Go and check him out, guys. You guys will love his Instagram. Another really, really, really notable blonde Instagram or Blondor user that you guys certainly have seen on Instagram is this one. Okay. This is Jack Martin. And Jack Martin, full disclosure, guys, Jack Martin uses all different kinds of products from all different kinds of brands and stuff. But when I saw this picture came out, it took my breath away, just like I'm sure it did the rest of you. Like, holy transformation. It's a big one, right? And he's got all kinds of stuff like this on his Instagram. I encourage you guys to go and check it out. But this was done with our Wella Blondor family of lighteners, okay? So really, really proud of Jack Martin for that one. And it's a really great example of the capacity of our Blondor lighteners. Okay. I don't see any other questions right now in the chat. So let's talk about partnership. Like, what is a good partner with our Blondor family of lighteners? Okay. And I just threw my Instagram handle up there again. If you guys want to follow me, go for it. So what do we have for great partners for our Blondor family? Okay. For toning partners, guys, you have lots of options. You guys can tone with our Colliston Perfect family, with our Pastel Developer. You can tone with our Illumina family, which is my personal favorite, and what's on my hair right now is our new Illumina 9-stroke 5-9 half titanium rose, in a glossing service, 1:1:1 with our Pastel Developer and our post color treatment. Okay. You can use our Color Touch family to tone with, but one of my favorite things right now to tone with are these guys. This is our Blondor toner family. These are liquid toners, okay? They are permanent. They do have the capacity to break the base, okay? So just be aware of that. But when I break bases with these guys, or when they just sort of do it when I'm using them, they are in a cooler direction. They're not breaking a base in like sort of a hot way that looks like a mistake, right? They're, sort of nice and smooth. What I love about these guys is that they're non-progressive, and you guys can see this on Zach Mesquit's Instagram. He's got several videos of him using these where he lets them process and they turn violet and blue and all kinds of like frightening gray colors. And then when he rinses them out, they're beautiful blondes underneath. Okay. So you really have to make sure that you guys are leaving these on full time. Okay. And that you are trusting the process with these, okay? These are, I will tell you, I've done this. I understand it's scary at first when you're like, oh my God, I hope that's not going to be purple. Trust me when I tell you, they're really, really beautiful. Throw it on, take a men's cut in between, get your price per ticket up, you go for it, okay? These Blondor toners are really, really beautiful, okay? They come in a few different shades, 16, 18, 81, 01, 03. They also come with a brass kicker, which is essentially a pearl violet additive, okay? Pro tip, guys, don't use the brass kicker on its own. It's not as forgiving as these, okay? These are very forgiving in the way that they process. The brass kicker on its own on a level 9 and 10 will be like blue jean baby, right? Your client asks for blue jean hair, go for it, girl. It's all you, right? But if they ask for a super ashy blonde and you just like got crazy, you're gonna end up having to fix that one. So yeah, be careful with our brass kicker is my point. The other new partner that we have in our Blondor family is our base breakers, okay? We were so jazzed about these that we thought, maybe we should make a product that's intended to do that base break, so people aren't using Blondor toners going like, standing outside, chain smoking, praying to Jesus that, nothing crazy happens, right? These are a really great way to break a base in a cooler direction, in a more natural, believable finish without that sort of hot root finish, and they happen in 10 minutes, right? So we need to make sure that we're choosing the right shade. There's two shades of this. This one is the extra cool, the Stroke 8-6, okay? Stroke 8-6 is the same pigmentation of the brass kicker that I talked about earlier, okay? It has a lot of pigment. It'll get crazy, okay? So use this one on somebody with darker hair that has lots of phenylalanine, lots of red exposure. We want to use this one on. The other one is the cool one. It's called Stroke 1-9, which is an Ash Cendré, okay? Is going to give us a little bit of a smoother, less pigmented, but more believable sort of finish on lighter levels, okay? So again, if you guys haven't tried our base breakers, go ahead and head down to Modern Beauty Supplies and pick one of those up and try. They're really, really great. And I'll tell you guys, I do a lot of balayaging. I do a lot of lived in hair. I do a lot of natural bases, things like that. I don't do a lot of base breaking. So these two products, guys, were really hard for me. Not gonna lie to you. These two, I was just like, I was very hesitant at first. And then my boss was like, okay, stop being a jerk about these two products. You got to teach them, right? So I use them. She sent them to me and I use them and whatever. And guys, I'll tell you, it sort of changed, not completely changed the way I do things. I'm still a free painter. I still, like lived in sort of matte hair. But when I do have clients that want a base break, man, am I ever grateful for these products. Because there's no more guessing. There's no more putting a permanent color on going like, I hope this is okay. I can use these and have that consistency and that predictability that as a colorist, I'm always craving. Right? And same with our Blondor toners. Okay, really great way to just be able to put a toner on and maybe, for once go and sit in the back and, eat a sandwich and not be like internally, freaking out while I'm eating my sandwich, right? So go ahead and try these, guys. Again, I'm with you. I'm a working hairdresser too. These things give me anxiety, but I still force myself to try them. Okay. So finally, guys, our partners that we use. Oh, I've got a question. What developer do you use them with? This is a great question. Sorry, Nick, I didn't mean to ignore you there. So when we're using our Blondor toners, we're going to use these with Pastel for minimal lift or 20 vol to do an intentional base break. Okay, so if you're wanting to use your Blondor toner to base break, we're going to use these with 20 vol. Otherwise, just use them with Pastel, minimal lift. Okay. With your base breakers, we're going to use these with our Pastel developer or our 10 vol. Okay. 10 vol with these guys isn't either way. You're only going to get about a level of lift out of these. When you're trying to break a base, you don't want to do crazy amounts of levels of lift and expose a bunch of underlying pigment. We want to get a little bit of lift, a little bit of a break or a bump, but we also want to cool it down. So the higher developer is going to give you a stronger drive of pigment with these, right? So if you want to lift a little bit and intensely deposit, use it with a 10 vol. If you want to lift a bit and just a slight deposit, use it with our Pastel. Thanks for the reminder, Nick. It's so great to have you. So let's talk about our final partners, guys, and what a big part of being a blonde that a lot of hairdressers ignore, okay? This is such an important thing, and when I'm in salons, this is something that I teach a lot, okay? And something that people don't expect. A lot of times when we do a beautiful blonde, they're sitting in our chair, we do a beautiful finish, we whip them around, we get the cape off, and we're like, nailed it, and then we walk them up to the front and we ring them out and we're super jazzed. But what did we miss in there? We miss their home care products, guys. These are so important for every client, but especially for your blondes, okay? And being a blonde myself, my favorite thing for blondes, and this is gonna be no surprise to anybody, is this gem right here. This is called Blonde Recharge. This is our pigmented blonde shampoo from the Wella company, from the Envigo line. And before anybody asks, check this out. Look at how dark it is. And I've got my ring lights right there, guys. So it's pretty pigmented, right? I'll see if I don't want to wear any of it, but you guys can see how intense the pigment is on that Blonde Recharge, right? My clients are loving this. I use this on my own hair when it's not pink, obviously. But this is a really great pigmented shampoo for your blondes, okay? Don't be afraid to talk this in your consultation, to be walking your clients past the retail shelves on the way out. Make sure that you're talking this all the way through the service. You guys shouldn't be getting to the end of your blonde services and then talking about retail. It should permeate every step of the way, okay? So Blonde Recharge is my first suggestion for you guys for take-home products for your clients. You guys can grab these at Modern Beauty Supplies right now. My other fave, guys, for blondes is these new gems. Right? This is a new color motion from the Wella company. And if you guys haven't used these, again, head on down to your Modern Beauty Supply and grab these. The color motion line comes with 3 in-salon products and 3 take-home products, okay? So the in-salon products are these. This is our Scalp Protect lotion, okay? It comes with sometimes it splashes me. It comes with a little nozzle like this, okay? You put it onto the scalp and it really helps to protect those sensitive clients, okay? Now, before anybody asks me, is it going to protect somebody against an anaphylactic allergy? No. And if you're laughing right now, why would anybody ask that? I get it all the time, okay? So the answer to that is no. We're not talking about allergies right now. We're just talking about people that have sensitive scalps that maybe when they're getting their hair lightened or colored, they're always, saying to you, oh, it's so itchy. It sucks. I'll get over it in a couple of days. It's not a big deal. This is really great for those clients. Put it on the scalp before their service. Maybe just give it a quick blow dry as well, right? And will help to protect their scalp against sensitivities. Okay, so that's our first back bar product in the color motion range. Our second one is this guy. This is we call it a structural surface enhancer, okay? But really what it's gonna do, guys, is between your lightener service and your toning service, it's gonna normalize your pH, it's gonna smooth out your cuticle, it's gonna really make sure that the hair is prepared to accept a toner sort of evenly and without patchiness and all of that kind of stuff. Old school hairdressers like me and Nick, would call this a porosity equalizer. Okay, so this is something that we're going to use to make sure that the hair is ready to accept that toner and is going to do it in a way that's nice and even and is going to make our client super happy. The other thing I love about this, and I said this on my live yesterday as well, the other thing I love about this is its detangling capabilities. Okay, so if you're like me, I do a lot of balayaging, I do a lot of back combing, I do a lot of combing out at the sink. Okay, so what I'm doing right now is, making sure I'm rinsing and I'm doing my Wellaplex step number 2. I'm shampooing. I'm letting all of the water pressure and all of that movement do a lot of the work for me. Then I'm spraying this down and doing some detangling at the sink before my root shadow and my tone go on. This is a really great partner for that. It's not officially what you use it for, but it's a happy coincidence. Okay. The other back bar product we have in Color Motion, guys, is this one. This is our new post-color treatment. And for those of you that love our post-color treatment, I am with you. We dig at all of our artists and educators, love post-color treatment. If you're not currently using our post-color treatment, please go and pick some up and start using it after your colors and after your toners. I'm telling you right now, your people will start coming back and saying, oh my God, my toner's lasting so much longer. What did you do different? And you can just be like, I'm awesome. And know that in the back of your back pocket, you've got this guy. Okay. This is really going to help to, again, equalize porosity, shut your cuticle down, lock that color in there and make sure it has that sort of staying power. Okay. Difference between this one and our original post-color treatment. Original post-color treatment needs to be on for 3 to 5 minutes. This one stays on for 30 seconds. Okay. And then, so those are our 3 back bar products in Color Motion. Our take-home products for Color Motion, guys, we've got our regular shampoo and conditioner, okay? And we've also got a treatment. Now, what's cool about our Color Motion family is that Color Motion essentially is the marriage of color protection and repair. Okay. So usually our clients, when we're selling retail, have to choose between those things. Do I want something that's going to be hardcore color protection, or do I want something that's repair, right? Before Color Motion, I was making sure that my clients bought Brilliant shampoo, our beautiful Color Protect shampoo, and then our Fusion Plex conditioner. Okay. So our bond building conditioner. Now we've got Color Motion that is both of those in one. Okay, so shampoo and conditioner. We also have a treatment that comes in a puck, a small and a large, that has our Wellaplex technology, our bond making technology built right in. Okay, so really, guys, I hope that you guys can see today through me talking about our beautiful Blondor family. That we really do have a lot to offer you at Wella in terms of creating your blondes and, in terms of having your liquid tools to really create the looks that you want to create. I will encourage you guys again to go onto your app store, your Play Store, download the Wella Education app. If you're not sure that you have the right one, please don't be afraid to jump into my DMs. I'm going to put up my Instagram handle again in just a second. And ask me, hey, is this the right one? Can you help me find the right one? I'm happy to do that. The other thing that you'll find in our app, thank you, Mona, and I see you too, Melanie, thank you. The other thing that you'll find in our app is our trend movement. If you go to Knowledge Library, and then you'll find it under Trend Movement. This is our balayage to illuminage, blonding balayage trend for 2021. The lookbook is in there, and it'll give you all the step-by-steps and the head sheets and the formulas and everything that you need to create your beautiful blondes on curly hair, straight hair, textured hair, all of those fun things, okay? You can also check out Modern Beauty Supplies, IGTV, for all of the blonding things that we've done over the last year and a half, things like that, to find all of the hands-on education you guys would like, okay? I'll just give you guys a minute. If there's any other questions, please feel free to ask me. Again, my name is Chelsea Mann. I'm a field signature artist for the Wella company. This is my Instagram handle at chelsea.wella. Please add me to Instagram, you guys. We can interact and you guys can ask me whatever questions you want. I'm happy to share, okay? Does the Color Motion shampoo and conditioner work the same for darker colored hair as well? Great question. Thank you for that. The answer to that is yes. It's still, even if you have dark hair, even if you have hair that's relatively healthy, if you're looking for something that is color protect and reparative at the same time, that's just going to be really caring for your hair, you can use that on darker hair as well. Really, really great question. Thank you for that one. Okay. So any other questions that you guys have, I'm just sort of running out of time here. Any other questions that you guys have, please hit me up on my Instagram. I want to say thank you again to Modern Beauty Supplies for having me. Thank you to Nick, my colleague and friend who's in the comments today helping out. And thank you to all of you for joining us. We know that your time is valuable, but we certainly appreciate you spending it with us at the Wella Company. If you guys learned anything today, please make sure that you share it with your teams. Remember that you're not the owner of your knowledge. You're only the caretaker of it. And if you don't share it, it is wasted. Okay? Have a great day. Have a great weekend. Please be kind to each other and make sure that you wash your hands. We'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.
I'm not so here, I'm all in it. I got a good story every time I wake up. I'm in the action, chips on the table. I want the feel, but I need another percentage. I want the win.